When you answered the question in the exercise, what is leadership, you probably wrote things like this. Leadership is influence. Leadership is servanthood, relationship, vision, transformation. Leadership is empowerment. Leadership is personal responsibility or decision-making or team building or change or managing change. Or you wrote leadership is culture or motivation or persuasion. Or leadership is creativity. Leadership is self-management. Leadership is communication. Leadership is character or integrity. Leadership is credibility. Leadership is trust. Leadership is modeling, or many other things. All of these are very good definitions of certain aspects of leadership, but none of them is a sufficient definition of leadership overall. They're all too brief, too narrow, and limited. The broad definition of leadership we will use is: a leader helps people move from where they are now to somewhere else. This is a very simple definition of leadership. Leaders help people move. Leadership means movement. In addition, leaders help people move to a place they probably would not go on their own. That's why people need leaders. Leaders are necessary to do this, to help people move. People need leaders, or else they will tend to stay in the same place. Look at Numbers 27, please. Moses spoke to the Lord, saying, "Lord, please appoint a man over the congregation who shall go out before them and come in before them, who shall lead them out and bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord may not be as sheep that have no shepherd." Notice how Moses tells God that the people need a leader, and that the leader will help the people to move where they need to go. Without a leader, the people will be as sheep that have no shepherd. Then in Matthew 9, Jesus refers to this idea of sheep without a shepherd as he looked at the multitudes. And Jesus went throughout all the cities and the villages. He saw the crowds. He had compassion for them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. And he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." And his response to this lack of leaders? Pray that God will raise them up. Without leaders, people are like sheep without a shepherd. They often wander aimlessly around, accomplishing very little. A leader helps people move from where they are now to somewhere else. And when the leader is a good leader, the somewhere else will be better than where the people are now. This is one difference between a good leader and a bad one. Good leaders help people move to better places. Bad leaders take people to worse places. They are effective leaders. There's movement, but they're bad. The lack of leadership is why so many people are not progressing in their lives. Many churches have great pastors, but many pastors aren't leaders. They're simply maintaining the status quo. They take care of the people in their church, but they're not leading. They're not helping the people to move anywhere. The people are only surviving. They're not thriving. They're not fulfilling God's purposes. Certainly, the people do need to be cared for, but that is not enough. They also need to go somewhere. They need to grow and fulfill God's purposes. The scarcest resource in the church today is leadership that's capable of leading the people to fulfill God's purposes. Why is there a lack of leadership? in so many Christian organizations and churches today? Several reasons. Many people in leadership positions simply don't have a leadership orientation or calling. Second, many people who are called as leaders are not sufficiently equipped to be healthy leaders. Or many people who are leaders have no time for the future because they're absorbed in the present. The lack of leadership is also why many businesses stagnate. They may be good at what they do, but they're not keeping up with a business environment that is rapidly changing. Many businesses are being left behind because of a lack of leadership. The lack of leadership is also why many families don't fulfill the purpose of God for their lives. The lack of leadership is why entire nations that are otherwise rich in resources stagnate. As a leader, you help people move somewhere else. And essentially, you help them move somewhere where they probably would not have gone by themselves. That is leadership. So, in a manner of speaking, leaders build bridges from here to a better place, from the present to the future, from potential to fulfillment, from vision to experience, from anticipation to realization. Leaders build bridges over the waters of impossibility. If there were only a few people who needed to move, then that few could swim. Boats could help a few more move from the present to the future. But if we want many people to make the move, we need a leader to build a bridge. A leader helps people move from where they are now to somewhere else. Leadership means movement.